Port Charles is a town that thrives on secrets, betrayals, and unlikely alliances, but even by its own standards, this explosive arc will leave everyone shaken. As Portia Robinson finds herself ensnared in Drew Kane's sinister game, it's Stella Henry who finally steps up as the unexpected hero, drawing a line in the sand to save her fractured family. Portia Robinson had never imagined she would be hiding behind locked doors from a man she once thought was a friend. Drew Kane, the hero, the ex-Navy SEAL, the man everyone trusted, had become unrecognizable. It started subtly. After Drew's release from Pentonville, something was different. He wasn't the patient, grounded man Port Charles knew. He was colder, calculating, and had one clear mission: control. Portia had turned to him for help in the aftermath of her unraveling marriage to Curtis. She needed advice, a sounding board, and someone who understood the pain of watching everything fall apart. Drew, always sympathetic, became her confidant. But sympathy turned to obsession. Now, Portia sat in her apartment, bruised emotionally and physically. Drew's manipulation had isolated her from her hospital staff, from friends, and most importantly, from Trina. Any attempt she made to reach out to her daughter was met with threats. "You contact Trina again," Drew had warned just days earlier, "and I'll make sure she sees who you really are and you won't like what she believes." Stella Henry had been quiet for too long. After taking time in London to reconnect with family and herself, Stella returned to Port Charles to discover chaos. Curtis was spiraling, his marriage was a shell, and Portia, the woman Stella had once campaigned for, was being controlled like a puppet. It took less than a week for Stella to piece together the puzzle. People whispered. Hospital staff looked uncomfortable when Portia's name came up. Drew had been seen leaving Portia's apartment at odd hours. Something was off, and Stella had the gut instincts of a seasoned social worker, and she knew abuse when she saw it. She stormed into Portia's apartment on a rain-soaked Thursday morning, not bothering to knock. "What the hell is going on here?" Stella's voice echoed like thunder in the room. Portia froze. "Stella, you shouldn't be here." "I should have been here a long time ago. Look at you," she said, pointing at the red marks just above Portia's wrist. "You think I don't see what's happening?" Portia's eyes welled with tears. "He said if I told anyone." "Let me guess. He destroy you? Make Trina hate you?" "Yeah, I've heard that song before. But Drew Kane picked the wrong woman to mess with, and I am not about to let him tear this family apart." Curtis Ashford didn't know what to believe anymore. Paralyzed from the waist down after being shot, he felt useless, not just physically but emotionally. He blamed Portia for secrets, for Trina's paternity lie, for the emotional distance that widened between them. But when Stella called him and asked him to meet her at Kelly's, he showed up, in his wheelchair, eyes wary, heart still bruised. "She needs help," Stella said simply. "Portia?" Curtis asked with disbelief. "Yes. And not the kind you give from a therapist or marriage counselor. She's being controlled, Curtis. By Drew." Curtis leaned back. "Drew? No way. That's my boy." "Not anymore," Stella said coldly. "He's been different ever since prison. You've seen it. Look me in the eye and tell me he hasn't been off." Curtis frowned. There had been signs. The aggressive takeover of Aurora. His sudden closeness to Nina and Willow. The fight with Jason. But abusing Portia? "She's trapped, Curtis. And as long as you two are technically married, he's using that as leverage to isolate her. If she tries to leave him, he threatens to expose her hospital secrets. She's terrified. We have to help." Curtis's jaw clenched. "So what do we do?" Stella's eyes burned with steel. "You let her go, and I take Drew down." Stella and Portia met again the next evening in a quiet corner of the hospital chapel. Portia had slipped out after her shift, hiding under a hoodie. The hospital security cameras had mysteriously stopped working that hour, thanks to a favor Stella called in from Spinelli. "We need to make this legal," Stella said, sliding a thick envelope across the table. "Divorce papers. Curtis already signed." Portia's hands trembled. He agreed? He loves you enough to let you go. And that's something you need to remember. Real love doesn't trap or manipulate. Drew doesn't love you, Portia. He's using you. And I'm not going to stand by while he ruins your life and Trina's. Tears spilled down Portia's cheeks. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought Drew understood. He doesn't understand. He controls. Stella's tone softened. But not anymore. You sign those papers and we put phase 2 in motion. He'll never get near you or Trina again. Portia picked up the pen, heart pounding. With one shaky breath, she signed. Meanwhile, Trina Robinson had been growing suspicious herself. She'd blocked her mother after weeks of erratic behavior, desperate voicemails, and missed appointments. She didn't know the full extent of what was happening, but she sensed it was bad. And when Stella called and told her, "You need to meet me at the gallery. It's about your mom," Trina showed up within the hour. The gallery was empty when Trina arrived. She found Stella standing by one of her unfinished pieces, holding a small flash drive. "What's this?"
Trina asked.
"Proof. Of what Drew's done. I need you to know the truth before it all comes out." Trina hesitated. "Why are you showing me this now?" "Because your mother didn't betray you. She was trying to protect you, and she suffered for it." Stella plugged the drive into the gallery laptop. Trina watched as security footage played.
Drew shouting,
grabbing Portia's arm, calling her a stupid pawn, telling her to stay away from Trina or else. Tears ran down Trina's cheeks. Oh my God, she wasn't lying. He was really threatening her. "She didn't want you to get hurt," Stella said softly. "And that's why you have to stay away. At least for now." "What do you mean?" "She needs space.
Time.
Safety. And you need to focus on healing too. I'll make sure she's safe. I promise you that." Trina hugged Stella tightly. "Please protect her." "I will." Stella wasn't finished. She wanted Drew removed, not just from Portia's life, but from every institution that gave him power. With help from Diane Miller and a few quiet informants at the PCPD, Stella filed a restraining order, leaked video evidence to the press, and triggered an emergency board meeting at Aurora Media. Drew's world collapsed in 48 hours. He was removed as co-CEO, investigated for financial abuse, and shunned by former allies like Michael Corinthos and Carly Spencer, who now realized just how dark his motives had become. When he barged into GH demanding to speak with Portia, Stella stood in his path. "You don't belong here," she said coldly. "She's mine," Drew growled, but Stella raised a hand.
"No.
She's herself. And she's free. You ever come near her again, and I'll make sure you rot in a padded room, Drew. You're finished." Security escorted him out as Stella turned to Portia, who watched from behind a nurse's station. "It's over," Stella whispered. Portia, finally free, collapsed into her aunt's arms. Weeks passed. Drew was gone, under house arrest awaiting trial. The hospital reinstated Portia, with full privileges. But she kept a low profile. She didn't go home. She didn't call Trina. Instead, she stayed in a furnished apartment Stella arranged, spending her time in therapy, journaling, walking by the docks at dawn. Trina, for her part, respected the distance. She focused on her art, leaning on Ava and Spencer for support. Every day, she wrote her mother a letter she didn't send. Stella, the fierce matriarch, became the silent bridge between them. She'd visit both women weekly, delivering updates, emotional messages, and small pieces of hope. One day, Trina handed Stella a canvas. "Give this to her. Tell her it's called Forgiveness." The painting was of a sunrise, crimson and gold over the Port Charles harbor. 3 months later, Stella stood once more in the chapel. Portia sat beside her, stronger now. "Are you ready?" Stella asked. Portia nodded. "For what?" "To go see your daughter." Portia smiled. "More than anything. But before you do, I need you to promise me something." Stella took Portia's hand. "Don't let this happen again. Don't ever lose yourself in fear, in lies, in pride. You have the strength of 10 women, Portia. But even strong women can fall. Just make sure you get back up." Portia teared up. "I will. Because of you."
"No."
"Because of you." I just reminded you what you're made of. Trina stood at the gallery, dressed in white, surrounded by her latest collection. When Portia walked in, tentative but smiling, their eyes locked. They didn't speak for a moment. Then Trina stepped forward and hugged her mother tightly. I saw the painting, Portia whispered. It's yours, Trina replied. They stood together, wrapped in silence, healing the wounds that nearly destroyed them. In the distance, Stella watched from the doorway, satisfied. The storm was over, at least for now.